Hey guys, it's Sandy from Two Fat Birds Creative, and so what you see today are a bunch of little fishies. I love this fish mold right here. I actually have several, but I'm unable to find all of them at the moment. But I love using this little mold to test out new glitters, excuse me, that I get. I've also got this little dragon mold and this other little fish mold, and I thought we'd just do some UV resin creating these guys to see what we get with some of the new glitters I got. So I got this pack of glitters. These I think came from Resin Rockers. Yep, Mini Star Holographics pack. This one is a fairy dust glitter. I got this one from Dragons and Dresses Craftsortium from Apryl. And some more from Resin Rockers. Just little 3D blue arrow glitter shapes. A multicolor one and another chunky holographic opal right there, which him I already got, but we'll do this one and these other three and just kind of see what we get. And off to the side here, I have this little, it's just kind of a little crystal kind of mold thing. It's got a lot of dog hair on it. And any extra I have, I'll just pour in here and get that made up. And then I use these, I'll put them in frogs or turtles or whatever as inclusions, or sometimes just to take up space so I don't have to use as much resin when filling a larger piece. So let's get ready to rumble. All right, so first I've got some resin, some UV resin already poured into these two containers. I've got the jdictioncrafting new formula hard type. That's my favorite resin or UV resin right now. And we're gonna start off with the fairy dust, and we will do this little guy. Oops. Now, but I am gonna go ahead and get some of this poured into here. Another trick I could use is putting some Elmer's glue into the mix here, just a tiny little drop, and that thickens up the resin so that glitter will stay more suspended in it. And I'll do that and I'll show you what I mean. Let's get this, come here. So right now there's none in here. You can see it's pretty free flowing. I do have it a bit packed in there. So let's add some more resin into here. You can already see actually how some of it is just falling down to the bottom, and there's a layer of clear resin on the top. It's not all mixed and suspended throughout. So if I take just some Elmer's, I got clear glue, but you can actually also use regular white glue as well. I am going to take just a tiny bit, and you can't really see that. We'll do this. That is probably even too much for this amount. So I'm just going to take a little bit off of there, and now we'll mix it in here. And now you can see how it's getting more thick, kind of snotty like consistency, but that helps suspend that glitter throughout the resin so it doesn't just all sink to the bottom. Move this back off to the side here. All right. So what I'm going to do first is just add, see, look at that gloopiness. Add this in layers into my mold. And why I'm doing this is because I know this mold gets a little tricky with the fin down here and gets a lot of air bubbles. I don't necessarily mind that all the time. Let me see, look through my guys here. So here's one that had a big air bubble right here. And if I finish it off better, I don't mind that because it actually to me seems more like a natural fish. Maybe he got injured somewhere. Not that there's nothing wrong with the full one, because it looks good too. But I don't mind it if it has a little bubble. To me, it just makes it a little bit more unique. And I'll get some more just kind of dropped in up here. All right. So that is just the little layer that I'm putting down in here. I like to stretch it out, making sure it's down in that little fin. I try to squish it from the bottom too, get any air bubbles out. I think there may be an air bubble. That's all right. We're gonna go with it. And now I'm gonna put this under the UV curing lamp for 2 minutes, and then we'll be right back. While that's curing, I actually have the bottle placed in front of my 2 things of resin so that the UV light doesn't happen to get on them. I'll show you this guy. So this little fishy here, let me grab what it is that I made him with. I did put a little bit of the fairy dust in him, but just a little bit. But he's actually made with these guys. These are crushed glass, and if you read that name, it's called Bam Bam. It's premium glitter resin, German glitter glass. It's just little crushed glass pieces in this particular color. It's just silver, some gold, little green, purple, just a few little different colors tossed in there, but mostly it's that silver. And that's how that little guy came out. I had another new glitter, excuse me, that was made up a lot of stars. And you can see, like, there's the little stars down in there, and over in here, and there, and throughout there. You can really see it on the underside. There's some more of those stars. And that was that one. Then at one point, I took some cake sprinkles, and I put that in here and made this fun little guy. All right, our other guy is now cleared up. I'm actually going to flip him over and give him another 2 minutes on his backside. We'll be back. All right, he is now out from under the lamp, and now we're just gonna do another layer. I like to layer it because I want to make sure that it's cured all the way through. And sometimes if you don't layer it, the UV light is not going to get through to all areas. So that's why you always want to flip your mold over. As long as it's like this, it's a translucent-esque-ish kind of mold, so that light can penetrate. You usually want to try to use translucent molds in when working with UV resin. That way the light can pass through the bottom of it and it can get cured up. So, got a little bit there. I just trying to expand this section here to get that resin to go down. If you notice any bubbles, you can go ahead and take a long neck lighter. Zoom out a little bit. And you can go ahead and just pass it over and try to pop any bubbles that you might see in there. Do not use that if you just put down alcohol or alcohol inks, because you will get flames shooting up at you, and you do not want to do that. All right, so back again under the UV lamp for another 2 minutes. And I will flip that over again and give the backside another 2 minutes. And while that guy's curing up here, we'll go ahead and get another glitter ready. Let's do one of the star glitters. And let's do this one, the green mini stars holographic. Let's do that one. There we go. You see, it's all these little tiny stars. You can see you get a lot of the stars hanging out on the edge of these Ziploc bags, and that's because it's static cling. If you have a little laundry static sheet, you could probably go over the bag with that, help reduce that static cling. I don't want to waste any of these guys, so I'm going to try and get them all in the bag. That's also what helps them stick to silicone as well. And there was still a little bit of glue on this end. It's probably dried up by now. That's okay. We're just gonna stick this guy in here and get him all swirled around and get these little star glitters mixed up in here. There's a little bit still of that glue that's taking small action in here. That's all right. The mold I'm using for this one is that other fish, and it's pretty thin. It's a really thin mold. And so, not a whole lot of room for things to drop. There are a lot of places for holes to get in, though. Oops. So let's just do that a little bit first. And I just want to kind of get it moved around in here. Get resin in some of these areas that I know might cause some little bubbles. And this may work, it may not work. This is the first time I've actually done it like this before, so we're kind of learning together. But I'll go ahead and spread some of these guys around. Definitely want to get some in the eyeballs. We'll go ahead and throw him underneath the UV lamp. And now we've got this guy, and we'll give him his other layer. You'll have to excuse me if I still sound a little sickly. Still getting over. I had COVID. I'm COVID free now, but still got remnants of the upper respiratory junk, which is just kind of going around everywhere lately. New upper respiratory viruses, COVID, tons of viruses going around everywhere. But, you know, I guess 'tis the season, right? And that is now good to go. I'll probably do one pass of the lighter on here. I could wait, say like 5 minutes, see if any more bubbles pop up, and then do another pass. So let's go ahead and let this guy stand here, move him off to the side, move this guy back in, come out a little bit, and now get more of this guy filled. And I'm just kind of dumping this one in here now. There is one little spot that is part of the mold right here. I should try to leave clear. It actually does leave a little opening. But it really depends on how your, desk is really leveled out, and if it's more level going towards me, that little guy's not gonna stay free of resin, and he will just get covered. Excuse me. All right, give this guy a pass as well. All right, and let's move these on in underneath the UV lamp and get them cured up. While those are getting cured up, I am going to get this little mold and just fill in these little spots with the remaining resin that I have from those little containers, and then I'll show you what these look like at the end. We'll be right back. All right, these guys are all cured up, mostly. I'm gonna do one more pass on this side. So let's go ahead and get this guy out. And there he goes. I'm gonna put him back underneath the UV light just to get that flip side, because sometimes this doesn't always cure up all the way. I want to make sure that they are cured. Now we'll get this little guy. So we do have a little bit of over pour. Catch it right away. You can just break it off. Or if you have a burring tool, you could go along with that and get those edges off that way. That looks like that was the only area. Oh, no, there's some right there. A little bit on this back or front fin right there. And that wasn't coming off by trying to just flick it. So get in there with that deburring tool. A little bit on his face right there. Just the underside. Just want to make sure it's nice and smoothed out. There we go. And there he is. And that was the fairy dust. And we'll put him underneath there too. And then I do have those little pieces that are still curing up. But let's go ahead and we'll move on to that dragon. Now, there's our dragon. Normally, if I was using regular epoxy resin, I would actually color this dragon in. I would color probably using the tiny Turner pigments. Since this is being used with UV resin, I don't want to do that because I'm worried about it curing. But what I do have, this came from Temu. I believe it's an interference powder that would shine off a particular color. This one looks like it might be purple. You can see kind of the purple hue right there. Let's see what else I got. I do have another one. Oh, pearl powder. So it's just going to give that pearlescent look to it. So that could be what this other one in my hand is too. And these, I believe, came from Into Resin. No, I think these actually came from, I'm not sure if these came from Into Resin. I think they actually came from Temu. They're like a Aurora powder. And you add this little guy here, and it's like super concentrated. You only use a hint of that with one of these Aurora colors. Actually, let's go ahead and do that. Just judging on the packaging, I think this came from Temu. But Into Resin has some really, really great ones. I do have a Into Resin discount code. It's the number 2, Fat Birds. Excuse me. And that'll get you 20% off. I do earn a small commission with that, but everything I earn, I have it set up to go back into a gift card so I can make purchases directly back to help support my channel. So let's use, again, let's stick with blue and green for this. And we'll pull this guy back out and fill him up. I'd have no idea how much this mold is going to take. What you can do is put it on a scale, add water, see what the grams is, and then you'll know what the grams of how much resin you need to fill that up. My little pieces are done that I made with the leftover green glitter. This one's got a bit of overpour in it, but you can see they're just little kind of crystally rocky pieces. All right, let's do the green. Ooh, shiny. Don't want to use a whole lot. Let's just start with that, because we want to make sure it's still transparent, again, so that light can pass through. And then we're going to use some of this highly concentrated Aurora mix that says 4 pair up. And you just want a tiny amount. So let's go ahead, just grab that much. That sealed back up. And let's get this mixed up and see what we're looking at. Thought I had cured this up. There we go. Can see some sparkle. Let's add a bit more green. I see some greenness in there, but let's add a little more. Okay, yeah, when I do that, I can definitely see a shift. All right, let's go ahead and add some of the blue to that. Definitely can see that blue in there now. All right, let's go ahead and add this to this. All right, guys, well, what I didn't know is my camera just stopped filming. But I had filled up this guy, and what I was actually saying while filming was I don't know how well that resin's going to get into these little spaces to fill up his stuff here, fill up in his wing areas, all, you know, down around here, in his tail. Trying, and I've been trying to manipulate it and get it in there. So hopefully it'll work and get those spots filled up. I'm going to add a little bit more. And I'm not doing him in layers because this is actually a transparent. You can see straight through it. So let's get this guy under the UV lamp. And I'm going to actually put him under for 3 minutes and let him cure up. And then I'm going to put that extra resin in these guys, and we'll be back in a minute. All right, guys, let's get this guy demolded. Most likely he's probably still going to be a little wet and not cured on the bottom because this is not transparent. But let's give it a go and see what we've got. Oh, got a little bit of that tail action going, so that's cool. Oh, hey, hey, hey. All right. So I can see it's still wet inside there, but let's zoom out a little bit. It's not in. Let's go out. And there's the guy. I'm going to put him back under, and then we're going to clean him up because there's definitely some overspill right there. And then we'll be back. And I'm just going to go over the mold with a baby wipe, just trying to get some of that excess out of here that didn't cure up. And then I'm going to throw it back under the lamp as well and let that cure up. And then I can take a piece of tape and get at it to pull any cured up pieces of resin that are underneath here. All right, let's get this guy back out. If you have cuticle trimmers, you can also use that to trim up any overspill from areas on your pieces. Works really well as long as you can, see your pieces and the spaces in between aren't too tight. Still pretty thin, so it's pretty delicate still. The more he can sit under a UV lamp or sit out in the sunshine, the stronger he will become. That's the piece that we don't need at all. Leave those. I don't want to do too much fiddling with him, but I like him. So what I could do, I could drill a hole in his head or in a wing, and then I could have it as a keychain. I could put a magnet on the back. Oops, this is more overpour. And I could have it be a magnet, which is probably what I will do. I've got some magnets on order that are bigger. Right now I just have like teeny tiny magnets. I'll show you. Teeny tiny magnets. This is all I have right now. But I could also do that to these fish. I could put a couple magnets on there and make them into magnets. They could just be decorative things that just hang out on your desk. I've put one on a pocket hug that I could give to someone as a gift. I could add it as an extra if they placed an order, or if people like pocket hugs to give away and they have maybe boys or girls that love fish, they could give it to one of them. That's typically what I do with those. Not necessarily the dragon. He's a little bit big to be a pocket hug. Also, if I had a background piece, I could mount it and then I could put a frame around it. So many things you can do with these. But that's our little friendly dragon here. Actually, let me put him up. You can see him a little better. It's not a product placement. It's just what I had nearby. So he's all done. And then our fishy was all done. So that was our fishy that's all done. Again, I could hang them from a fin and make a keychain out of them. Again, I could put magnets on it and make it as magnet fridges, normally what I do, or make them into those pocket hugs. And then we had our goldfish, but in green. Green gold, we'll say. And yeah, so I hope you enjoyed these quick UV makes. They're really easy, super simple to do. I like just doing them to test out glitters and inclusions like glitter glass, crushed glass, all types of different glitters. And yeah, hope you find this useful. Guys, I want to thank you for hanging out with me, watching these pretty easy UV resin makes, testing out some of my glitters here. I really appreciate your viewership. Please like and subscribe and leave me a comment. Let me know if you want to see me do something else. Let me know if you like these. That's really important for my channel, just to have your viewership and to like and subscribe. If you wanted to help my channel, I do have a buy me a coffee, and anything made through that comes right back into the channel, buying resin supplies to keep my channel going. Again, you do not have, I don't want to pressure anybody into doing that, only if you have the resources and you feel like it. But the free thing to do is just, watch my videos, like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And I really appreciate that. I hope everyone has a great weekend.